Number 10, Marketa Vondrousova. Number 9, Sloane Stephens. Number 8, Beatrice Haddad-Meyer. Number 7, Yelena Ostapenko. Number 6, Madison Keys. Number 5, Danielle Collins. Number 4, Coco Gauff. Number 3, Elena Rybakina. Number 2, Arina Sabalenka. And number 1, Iga Świątek.
Ready? Play. Ready? Play.
Hello, welcome back to Talking Tennis for the final of Geneva between Tomas Machac and Casper Ruud. Not necessarily the final that I think many of us might have predicted, particularly when I was streaming for Djokovic's match the other day. We had a pretty heavy majority for Djokovic winning this tournament. Obviously, not going to be the case. A very exciting final nonetheless for me. I hope it's the same for all of you. I think Machac played really well to beat Djokovic, who obviously wasn't at his best, but I think Machac played well regardless of how Djokovic was at the other end of the net. And Casper Ruud winning this morning in a third set tiebreak also wasn't necessarily on the agenda, I would suggest. So yeah, an exciting sort of matchup here. They're just getting underway on my screen anyway, with Casper serving first, I believe. Yes, he is. Hi, Julian. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Who am I rooting for? I like that question. It's difficult for this one because I am a big fan of Casper Ruud. Really enjoy his tennis, and I am on the side of, I do think he can, some people think he's never going to win a slam or any sort of big tournament. I certainly think he can. And I think this would be a massive help and boost to his confidence before Roland Garros. At the same time, Machac making a final, if he won it, that would be a pretty big deal. So I'm not sure who I'm rooting for. I'm going to predict a Casper Ruud win. How about you? Who are you rooting for, or who do you think is going to win? Let me know. It's 15-all at the moment, and a second serve for Casper. Big serve out wide, followed up by the +1 inside out. Great stuff. Ruud all the way for you, Julian. Yeah, it's good. It's a good choice. I think it's difficult because I love an underdog in loads of scenarios, but I think in this case, yeah, I'm probably about the same. I think it would be a really interesting Roland Garros if Casper Ruud is at his very best on clay. So this might aid that that sort of hope for the French Open, starting tomorrow, of course, which I'm sure we're all pretty excited about, or I hope we're all pretty excited about. I certainly am. $40.15 here on Casper's serve. My stream is, I think, just a point behind the on-screen scoreboard, but I'll stick with what I've got in front of me. Lovely return from Machac to make that 40-30. The Marshall HD, I like that name. Machac has to win. Ruud should be exhausted, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. Got to consider the fact that he's had to play 2 matches today. Whether that will come into play We shall see. You'd expect it to, like you say. Perhaps if Casper Ruud can get this done quickly, as he takes his first service game, perhaps if he can get it done quickly, that exhaustion and that fatigue might not set in. I think it was only 2 hours this morning, despite the 3 sets, because obviously it was 6-1 and then 6-1 the other way. So it wasn't a super long match, even though it was a 3-setter. So I feel like he might be a bit tired, but I think he might be okay in this one, particularly if he can get it done quickly. But if Machac makes him work for it, I agree. He's probably going to struggle. I assume you're talking about Ruud as well, Julian. He's the champion we want and need. Very humble. Hope he gets Grand Slam too. Yeah, I'm the same. I think, a lot of people can be really harsh on Casper Ruud. Not necessarily as a person, but just in terms of the tennis. And there's a lot of kind of talk about, again, like I say, whether he'll ever get a Grand Slam or whether he'll ever get a Masters. Obviously, only recently sort of ended that streak of only winning 250s. I agree with you on his personality. I think he's a really likable character in tennis. And I think to a point, we sort of don't talk about enough who's beaten him in all his slam finals. Djokovic, Nadal, Alcaraz. It's a difficult trio of finals to take on, I would argue. 30 love here for Machac already. Sporting shorts that may be shorter than even Holger Rune. Don't quote me on that. I haven't measured it. Oh, nearly a lovely passing shot down the line from Ruud, but I think it's just out. 40 love to Machac. Oh, fab. Julian giving us some top Roland Garros draw knowledge. Ruud plays on Monday. Machac plays Borges on Monday as well. That's not too bad. Monday, obviously, is better than playing tomorrow, but it's still a very quick turnover. I suppose they're only going from Switzerland to Paris. Not too bad on the travel, but still a big ask. That Ruud match feels more straightforward to me than Machac playing Borges. Actually, that's a great round one match. Machac against Borges. That's one to watch for me. I've been really enjoying both of those players recently, so it's a great matchup, I think. So 1-1 pretty quickly here. In Geneva, of course, as well, we've got the Strasbourg final going on at the same time between Madison Keys and Danielle Collins, an all-American affair over there. I know we've got John in Strasbourg watching that one, so I'm sure we'll be kept updated as to what's happening there. Hi, Ashley. Good to see you, as always. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I know you're joking, Julian, but I certainly think his priority nowadays is probably to win anything except 250s. Obviously, he wants to win those 250s as well, but I should think he feels a little bit like he's got something to prove, as he is struggling on this service game. Bit of a chance for Machac here at love 30. Struggling a little bit on first serve, it feels. Huge forehand from Casper, but Machac is defending well at the moment against these forehands from Casper Ruud. It's a bit of a lengthy rally. Machac pulls him wide, and Ruud's movement a little bit lacking there, and Machac with 3 break points early on against Casper Ruud. Sean, that might be one of my favourite comments I've ever read in a Talking Tennis stream. I love that so much. Like, if he gets the 4 250s, it's basically a Masters, right? Somebody should tell him. Ruud incredibly off balance on that inside-out forehand, and it does go wide, so Machac has broken to love here in the early stages. Some really great play from him, moving Casper around. And Casper just looked all out of sorts there, so yeah, 9 minutes in, and 2-1 Machac. Great start for the Czech. Ooh, we're back to the sneaky good phrase. I love a sneaky good player. Machac is definitely, he knows what he's doing on clay. Yeah, I agree. Certainly. I know the whole story with Machac beating Djokovic. All everyone wants to talk about is Djokovic, but I thought he played really well, Machac. I knew we would have to talk about pace and Stearns, regardless of whether you're with us, Ghosty, but I'm glad to see you're here. And I did watch as much as I could of that match earlier between her and Maya Sharif, and she really did whiz through that one, especially considering the battle she's had all this week, Peyton Stearns, coming back from that 5-love down. Yeah, incredibly impressive, I thought, today and all week. And a very well-deserved title. Yeah, Collins and Keys, I think, is a fabulous Strasbourg final. It's probably one of the best ones I could have conceived. I'd go with a Danielle Collins win, because at the moment, unless she's playing Sabalenka, it feels like you're silly not to. But I do think Madison Keys will give her a really good game, and it could go either way. I believe they are 5th and 6th in Nick's WTA power rankings. I might be getting that wrong. I might have got it mixed up, but I think Nick at least believes those two are going to be big factors in the French Open, and I am inclined to agree. I mean, the only person who's beaten Danielle Collins recently is Aryna Sabalenka, and the only person who's beaten Madison Keys recently is Iga Swiatek. It's not a bad record to have recently, I would suggest. $15 on the Machac service game. And he does dump that backhand into the net, and Casper Ruud trying to go for the immediate break back here at 15-30. If you're keeping an eye on the Collins Keys match, Ghosty, you can keep me informed if you don't mind. I'm very interested as to how that one goes. If I had another screen available, I'd have it on. Oof. Huge forehand from Machac there. Comes off the frame of Ruud's racket. That was like a jumping backhand, but forehand. I loved that. Ooh. Yeah, that's a bit of me, that Machac forehand. Don't know if you're watching it, but loved it. Hope you enjoy watching Danielle, Ashley. I'm sure you will. Machac has regained a bit of control over this service game, but important point here at 40-30 to try and consolidate this early break. Second serve for Machac. Ooh, just gets that backhand all wrong, so we are at deuce. Oh, and thank you very much, goes to Madison Keys has just broken. She's 2-1 up on serve. Fair enough. Good start for Maddie Keys. Did you enjoy Danielle Collins' rant at the umpire? Yesterday it was, wasn't it? I thought it was hilarious. Keys has broken Danielle Collins, Nerlin, just to keep you updated. And thank you very much for joining us. Nice to see you. Advantage Machac. Ooh. Nicely done at the net from Casper Ruud to save that game point and take us back to deuce. Can let me know as well. Obviously, we can see John's ATP power rankings on the little scrolling bit at the bottom of the screen. Very clever. I'd love to know what you think of them. Do you think John's got it right? What would you change if you were going to write your own power rankings? What do you think of his top 10? Another game point here for Machac as he makes it advantage. John did his power rankings yesterday, or at least they came out yesterday. I don't know when he filmed them. Oh, gorgeous backhand down the line from Machac to seal and consolidate that break and go up 3-1. And he's playing well. He's looking really good. Julian, are the power rankings for Roland Garros? Yes, they are. They are for the French Open. And in which case you think it looks way off given the current state of things. Interesting. I can see what you mean. They are quite different to what I would do as well. But what would you change if you were doing the power rankings instead of John? Goes still suspicious of... Oh, I really struggled on that. Still suspicious of Sinner's hip. Gonna need to see him in round 1. Yeah. I agree. I'm still a bit suspicious of Carlos Alcaraz's forearm as well. Maybe I'm wrong to be, but I'm still sort of a little bit worried about both Sinner and Alcaraz. I know we've gotten a lot of like reassurance, mostly just on social media from Sinner and Alcaraz, saying, "Oh well, it feels pretty, it feels okay," and I worry about how much, match sharpness, match fitness, and actual fitness they're gonna have, both with the hip and the forearm. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not surprised it was the most difficult ATP rankings. When I say I'd do a few things differently, I don't know what. I've not actually thought about it. It's I've struggled to pick Novak, but also who would I put at the top? It's a really difficult year to do them, I think. So. Oh dear. Not a very good forehand from Casper Ruud there. I don't know if he's unhappy with the bounce. He's sort of looking at the clay in a little bit of annoyance. It's a good point, Ghost. Alcaraz's. I never know. I think because it's a Z, you'd have to put the apostrophe S, right? I don't know. I'm not a teacher anymore. Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually, Julian. How wise, as he's 30-15 at the moment, and as I say, just a terrible forehand on that previous point from Casper Ruud. How wise do we think it was for him to go for Geneva? Particularly, he's having to play this final now. He's had to play 2 matches today now because of the weather. He's going to have to play again on Monday and make all the travel arrangements and a quick turnaround to Roland Garros. How wise do we think it was for Casper Ruud to play Geneva in a year where, like a lot of us are saying, we think the French Open is wide open for somebody to come along and snatch it? I don't know. I'm quite surprised to see Ruud in Geneva in a certain way. Yes, guys. I was a trainee primary school teacher for a good couple of years, but not anymore. Game point here for Casper Ruud to stay in touch with Tomas Machac. Lovely angle on that forehand from Machac. Casper Ruud does manage to get there, but can't get to the next one. Puts it in the net, and we're at deuce. So Casper Ruud really struggling to hold serve at the moment. Not necessarily what I expected, but he did, he lost that set 6-1 this morning, so he's certainly not at the height of his powers on clay, I would suggest. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Ashley. I was quite surprised to see him play Geneva. It's very different for me to see him play Geneva than, for example, Novak Djokovic, who I think we can all agree hasn't had the clay season he'd have expected or we'd have expected. It made sense to me for him to play Geneva to get a few more matches in and feel a bit more confidence, perhaps, on the clay. But for Casper Ruud, he's had a decent clay season. Maybe not so good in the last week or two, but I don't know. I was surprised to see him in Geneva. But as Julian reminds us, he is the 250 king. He wouldn't be living up to his brand if he hadn't showed up in Geneva. Was that a great return from Machac, or was that a let? I think it was a let. The scoreboard's not changing. So still advantage Casper to close this game out. backhand from Machac is absolutely gorgeous. He's hit a few of those right down the line. Casper nowhere near them. Beautiful. Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? Goes with a lot of these tournaments that happen just before slams. They can be real quality tournaments, and they still struggle. The one I think of is last year's Eastbourne. I believe they had 4 or 5, was it? Huge names drop out in the run up to Wimbledon. It's just sort of the way a pre-slam tournament works, but it is a shame. Advantage Casper once again. Big baseline rally. Machac going for the angle again on that forehand. I think he's really trying to move Casper Ruud around, but he does go into the net. So Casper stays in touch, and it's 3-2. And to give you an update on Strasbourg, Madison Keys is on serve at 4-1. So that means double break up. Wow. Not the Danielle Collins we've been seeing, but I don't imagine that will stay like that for too long. But great start from Maddie Keys. And do make sure you tune in later for ATP Weekly and WTA Weekly, talking all things Strasbourg and Geneva, and I'm sure they'll be talking about Rabat and Lyon as well, and looking ahead to the French Open, so definitely worth a watch. Yeah, Danielle has looked a little bit ropey on serve at times. It's the only thing, or one of the only things you could really think she's looked vulnerable with in recent times. And a lot of the time it's just a small vulnerability in a match, and then she moves on and fixes it. So yeah, hard for me to say when I'm not watching the match, but I'd be shocked if Collins doesn't raise her level at some point. Just quickly looking at the stats on the screen, I think I mentioned it earlier about Casper Ruud struggling for a first serve, but that 45% first serve percentage for Casper Ruud is quite poor. He'll be wanting to get that sorted, and soon. Casper Ruud is standing so far back to return this Machac serve. But that one does come off Mahac's frame, so it's 15-all. Yeah, just on this clay court merchant thing, I feel like I've totally got the wrong like definition of what clay court merchant means, because I've always thought if you're a clay court merchant, it's just like you're really good on clay, just like if you're a hard court merchant or a grass court merchant. But I've seen it a few places now where I'm like, oh, I think it's like an insult, but I'm not sure. Let me know if I feel like I've got the wrong the wrong end of the stick on that one. Oh, another pretty poor forehand from Casper Ruud. Just way, way out. And he's not looking very strong at the moment. It's 30 all, so he's still got a chance here to break back, but he's not looking like Casper Ruud at the moment. Another big forehand down the line from Machac to make it 40-30. They are very short shorts, aren't they? I know we all talk about Holger Rune, but this is next level for me from Machac. This is the next level of short shorts. Good serve. Ruud puts it into the net, and it's 4-2. And Machac looking really in control in this first set so far. Even though Casper Ruud has had a few chances on his serve, it's never looked that likely that he's going to take it off him. So it's more about now whether Casper can hold on to his serve and up that first serve percentage. Yeah, I totally agree, guys. I think Madison Keys. Oh, now I'm struggling on the plurals as well. Keys' Madison Keys' run through Strasbourg has been very strong from my perspective. She's beaten some really good players. And when you consider she beat Wang Jingyu really strongly, even though Wang Jingyu had just beaten Kalinskaya, right? So there's I think there's quite a lot there that she's managed to overcome. Good serve from Casper Ruud. That's the sort of serve he'll be wanting to try and draw out for 30-15. A bit of shameless promotion here from myself, but if you are interested in all the South American players that we've seen have so much success recently, when you think of Jarry, Tabilo, Echeverry, Baez, I'm sure I'm forgetting some, Diaz Acosta, Tiago Montero, all of those, I have got an article coming out this evening about the South American players and their clay court season so far and how impressive they've been. So look out for that if you follow me on Twitter. That's the kind of forehand Casper Ruud is used to hitting. That one was sweetly struck. And if he can close it out here, this will be his most straightforward service game in quite a while. Drop shot from Machac. Ruud gets there but can't do anything with it. 40-30. How does it work? So I don't know for all of the players which ones are playing on both days, but I imagine it's the same as the Geneva players. So both Ruud and Machac are playing on Monday. I don't know if that's the same for people like Peyton Stearns and Danielle Collins and Maddie Keys, but I haven't seen any of them on the order of play for tomorrow off the top of my head. So I imagine all of them are either Monday or later. Thank you, Julian. Collins and Keys are also playing on Monday. And Keys does take the set 6-1. Wow. Very impressive from her. Be interesting to see whether Collins can regroup, come out differently in the second set. But wow, that is sounds like Maddie's playing some brilliant tennis. And what was looking like it could be a straightforward service game for Casper Ruud has once again gone to deuce. Machac just with too much for him at the moment. Some good stuff from Casper at the net there, though. Putting some depth on the ball, making Machac go back for it, and then bringing him forward, and he's unable to get there. So a nice point from Casper to make advantage. Yeah, I think it was somebody called Marshall earlier was saying about Casper surely will be exhausted after playing this morning. It is a quick turnaround. I think they finished their match at 11:30 my time, and they've started this one at 2:00 my time. So 2.5 hours he's had between the two. It's very possible. I don't see Casper Ruud retiring in a final unless he thinks he's going to make something worse. Nice point there from him with a +4 forehand winner to hold and make it 4-3. Yeah, I don't really see him as the type to retire in a final unless he encounters an injury that he's worried he's going to make worse or anything like that. But you never know. Do you think the French Open will lose or gain interest with Nadal retiring? That's a great question. I assume you mean like perhaps next year if there's no Nadal rather than this year. I know I saw somebody today posted a picture of the Roland Garros resale and there were no tickets available, and that apparently is very rare. So I think in terms of this year, the interest is very much there. In terms of whether they'll lose or gain interest with Nadal retiring, I like to think we've got a lot of new exciting players coming in, a lot of older players that are still exciting. I don't necessarily think it'll lose or gain interest. I'm not sure. I think perhaps the interest level will stay the same, but for a load of different reasons. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I didn't think real sort of physical fatigue would kick in for Casper because it wasn't that long a match this morning, but it's still a completely different day for him than it is for Machac. And also the confidence of beating Djokovic, whatever state Djokovic is in, is a pretty big deal to take into a final with you, I would suggest. Yeah, I think we've got to consider Madison Keys when it comes to the French Open in terms of being a factor. I know that, like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure Nick had her at 6th in his power rankings, just below Danielle Collins at 5th. So I think she's definitely up there. I think she's had a great few weeks. Like I say, she's lost to Iga twice, right, in the last couple of tournaments. And those were pretty bad losses, but she was playing Iga Swiatek. So in terms of whether she can make her way through the tournament, I would suggest we're definitely looking at a good tournament for Maddie Keys. This is looking like a quick service game for Machac at 40 love. And it was very straightforward, already finished. Machac here, a game away from the first set in this final in Geneva. Very impressive from him so far. In terms of talking tennis over the next few days, of course, you can expect to see a lot of us during the French Open. So tomorrow, I know that we're planning to do quite a big multi-match stream from the very start of the morning matches. So there'll be quite a few of us there. We've got people to cover the Andy Murray against Stan Wawrinka match tomorrow evening, which will be very exciting. And then you've got people on the last ball drops at the end of the day tomorrow. And I think it will be very similar for most of the days going through. So lots of stuff for you to be watching. Still trying to decide which of the early matches tomorrow I might want to follow myself. Machac puts that forehand slice into the net, and Casper Ruud 40 love up here on his own service game. So looking likely that he's going to make Machac serve this one out. Nice backhand from Casper Ruud, seals that game. It's 5-4, and Machac is going to have to serve to take the first set here in Geneva. But first, whilst they're having a bit of a sit down, I feel like we can have a quick look at the friends of the show.
Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
I love that clip. I'm going to play it all the time. Be ready. Julian giving us an update on Madison Keys against Danielle Collins. Keys moving well on court against Collins. Collins has 10 unforced errors versus Keys 4 in the first set. Yeah, that's pretty good. I assume the second set's underway there. Yeah, big one. Yeah, okay. Lloyd Harris's hair is quite impressive, actually. I agree. Love 15 here as Machac attempts to serve out this first set. Oh, just when you think Casper Ruud, oh, there's some good shots in that rally. Maybe he's that forehand goes wide. And it's 15 all. I'm freely, if in terms of the Madison Keys playing top 10 clay court tennis, I totally agree. I'm trying to think where her ranking is going to end up if she wins Strasbourg. A long way to go yet. But whereabouts will she land? Of course, it won't make a difference for the French Open now, but out of interest. Second serve for Machac here at 15:30. And that is not a good return from Casper Ruud. Well long. I think he's moaning towards his own box there, but he's not happy. Unless he is moaning at the umpire. Not sure. It's in the direction of the umpire, but I'm not sure where his box is. Either way, Casper is not happy with something. At 30 all. And that backhand's in the net, so set point for Tomas Machac here. He's been great in the rallies. I mean, the first serve percentage has now switched, and Machac is at 41% first serve. But as you can see, the win on second serve is much higher for Machac, so it's not affecting him as much. I'd say he's been playing well, but there are a lot of uncharacteristic errors from Casper Ruud today. I'll be interested to see the unforced error count after this set, sorry. Oh, it won't be ending straight away though. That's a double fault on set point from Tomas Machac, and a little bit of a wry smile from him. Perhaps the pressure getting to him there, just shaking his head, trying to shake that one off. Big forehand to forehand rally here. Casper just trying to go for a bit of a better angle, and it does work. Mahac's forehand into the net. And just as I was getting ready to chat about The end of the set and how well Machac had played. Ruud with a break point to get this to 5-all. Big forehand rally once again. Machac had a bit of a smash, but Casper Ruud gets it back, and now it's backhand to backhand. Ruud switching to the forehand. Mahac's forehand to Ruud's backhand now. Again and again. Casper switches to the Machac backhand. Now it's backhand to backhand. Casper Ruud steps round, hits the inside-out forehand. Gorgeously done. And he does get the break against Machac with a moment of the Casper Ruud we're used to seeing. And we're back on serve in this first set. Not what I was expecting, I'll be honest. I was expecting this one to be gone from Casper, but a nice turnaround there. Oh, I've not heard that one. Ridiculous. I'm surprised I haven't. That feels like a natural progression. Love it. Ridiculous. Yeah, I've just seen the score in that. Is it 3-love? To Maddie Keys in the second set. I mean, that is so impressive. By the sounds of what you're saying, it's not as if Danielle Collins is playing her best tennis, but I still think, regardless at the moment, it must be pretty good from Maddie Keys. Oh. Poor Casper Ruud. I know what you're saying though, Sean. I don't know if you were here earlier when I was talking about why Ruud played Geneva, but I wasn't positive either. Lovely backhand return from Machac on the Ruud serve. Then goes short, and Ruud gets there, but can't do anything with it. 15-all. $30-15. Yeah, I think winning Strasbourg would be huge for Maddie Keys. Perhaps even more important. Well, no, it would not even perhaps. It would definitely be more important to her than it would be to someone like Danielle Collins, I think, in terms of momentum going into Roland Garros. Danielle Collins will be hoping to have a good Roland Garros, but I don't think she'll be expecting huge things, as we might expect from her later in the year in the US sort of hard court season. But if Maddie Keys can go into Roland Garros with the Strasbourg title at her back and all the good play she's had over the last few weeks, I think people would be worried about playing her. $30-all on Casper Ruud's service game here. A lot of good work in breaking Machac that he will want to consolidate by making it 6-5 and at least guaranteeing the tiebreak. Big angle on that backhand from Casper Ruud, 40-30. And he does hold. Casper Ruud makes it 6-5. Machac was serving for this set at 5-4, but Casper has managed to turn it around. It is now 6-5 to the Norwegian. And Machac will be serving to stay in this first set.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
One match, Machac is just getting ready to serve, and he's 15 love up now, quite quickly. One match that I haven't mentioned yet, which I can't believe I haven't mentioned, but I must have forgot had already started, is the final in Lyon, where Etcheverry is taking on, and I really hope I don't butcher his last name. Etcheverry is taking on Mpechi Perikar, hopefully. Anyway, Mpechi Perikar is a French wildcard in that tournament. He's made it to the final in Lyon. He's taken the first set 6-4, and Etcheverry has just levelled it 1-all with 6-1 in the second. So a pretty interesting final there to keep an eye on as well. Very frustrating when all of these finals are on together. I understand why. But it's frustrating that we can't watch all of them. You know, Ghost, I don't know if... I know some people would say something like that sarcastically. I don't think you are. You might be. I actually think it's a good point. I get the feeling, and we don't know him personally, so I don't want to sort of presume, but I get the feeling from Casper Ruud that he is quite keen to really make that next step up and start winning Masters and get a slam and all of that. But equally, if he's happy playing 250s, winning 250s, he's very good at it. I mean, I certainly disagree with any sort of opinion about, you know, when people say Casper Ruud's ranking, particularly a couple of years ago now, is too high because he's never won anything major. He's only won 250s, so he hasn't earned his ranking. I don't agree with that at all, personally. I think if you've got the points, you've got the points. Full stop. And speaking of points, Casper Ruud has managed to somehow, in that time, set up 2 set points, 15-40 on the Machac serve. What a turnaround in momentum this is, as Mahac's approach shot goes wide. From 5-4 down, Casper Ruud has managed to turn this around. Takes the first set 7-5 in just under an hour. And that is some really impressive work in the late set from Casper Ruud, who, I'll be honest, was not looking like to me he was going to turn that round. So fair play to Casper Ruud. And just looking at the stats here, As you can see, the serve stats sort of on the screen, but yeah, not the best service stat from either of them, but sort of a great. It felt like he dug in that last few games. Perhaps his experience, as we know, lots of 250 experience for Casper Ruud. Perhaps that kicked in. Whatever it was, he's done well to sort of make that. But Machac will be sat there wondering how that's managed to get away from him. He would have felt totally in control, I think, serving at 5-4, with Casper not having broken him thus far. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't put up the unforced error count there. Slightly annoying. So I don't know it. Apologies. Yeah, I'm the same, Ghost. I quite like people who do things differently. So I enjoy Casper Ruud. And I think it's a really good point, Sean, that winning anything, no matter how small, is a great buzz. I agree. You know, when Casper Ruud, for example, is at this 250, let's say he wins it, long way to go, but let's say he wins it. Is he going to be picking up the trophy and thinking, well, it's not a 500? I don't think so. He's got a trophy in his hand. He's played a week of good tennis and he's won it. That's got to be a boost, no matter what points are added to your ranking, I think. Yeah, absolutely. We could probably do with remembering that for a lot of tennis players, or at least the top tennis players. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with Jerome, who's one of the Talking Tennis sort of regulars, and he wrote a brilliant article that I do encourage you to go and read. He spoke to two people on the Challenger Tour, a singles player and a doubles player, who are friends, and he spoke to them about the challenges they face. And I think, you know, it's stuff that a lot of us know. Maybe ultimately we know that there's a lot of struggles on the Challenger Tour, and financially it can be a really difficult life, but it was really interesting to actually see the impacts of that on these two specific players. And I thought Jerome wrote it brilliantly as well. So really recommend you have a read of that if you're interested in sort of the financial strains of committing yourself to the Challenger Tour, because it's totally different. You know, Casper Ruud, whether he wins or loses this week doesn't make too much of a difference to him in the long run. But for some players, winning or losing a week can make the difference between breaking even that week or losing money because they've not made enough. So hi, Thomas. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Collins breaks back. Thanks, Ghosty. Serving to tie it up in a second. Interesting. Oh, no. I'm too late. I was too late to that comment. Keys has broken her again. Fair enough. That's a good indicator of Keys' mindset, though, if she's able to sort of... if Collins has broken back and she's just carried on broken again. Fair play. 4-2 Madison Keys. And as I say, lovely forehand from Casper Ruud makes him 1-love up in the second set. Be interesting. It felt like there was obviously a huge momentum shift in the end of that first set in this match. I'm not sure if Casper's going to just take that and run with it and finish this off, or I feel like Machac is too good a player to let that happen. Got themselves into another one of those backhand-to-backhand rallies here, but Casper Ruud switches it, and Machac just watches it pass him. Great play from Casper Ruud. 15-love. Slightly unfortunate net cord there for Machac. Just gave Ruud all the ability to take control of that point, and he does, and it's love 30. And Julian's completely right. Casper Ruud looking like a man on a mission, which is just so different from the Casper Ruud we saw in the first 9 games of that first set, and then something's happened in these last 4. That's a good forehand cross court though from Machac to make it 15-30. Whilst we're also keeping an eye on Strasbourg, 5-2 to Madison Keys. Collins serving to stay in that match. Oh, that might be the most emotion I've ever seen from Casper Ruud after a point. I think he's at the net. He's got an easy put away, and he puts it long, and it's like his whole body reacts to having put that long. Very unhappy with that point. But nice to, well, from my perspective anyway, it's quite nice to see him that animated. I feel like a lot of the time we see a very calm, collected Casper. But he's up the intensity here. Machac goes wide, and Ruud with a break point. 30-40. Oh, I love that shot. I love that shot from Machac. That jumping forehand he does. Oh, I love it. I really, yeah. I'm just going to keep saying I love it. Casper Ruud does get it back, and then Machac is able to just slice it the other way into an empty court. Saves the break point in quite spectacular fashion. Oh, another crocker of a shot. This one's really taken off. This match has really taken off. Casper Ruud there, pushed out wide on the run, manages to pull off a gorgeous forehand down the line. I mean, No margin for error there. Machac goes for the drop shot. Casper Ruud running up to it. Pulls off the forehand pass. And in what was quite a brilliant set of points, goes 2-love up and gets the break. Some great stuff from the Norwegian, but some great stuff from Machac there as well. Hi Capricorn, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad to hear that you're so happy for Maddie. I think, you know, I've loved watching Danielle Collins over the last few months, I can't lie. I was rooting for her beforehand. But yeah, from the sounds of it, I've not been watching that much. I'm watching Casper Ruud, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like Maddie really, really deserves it. So I'm happy for her too. Nice drop shot from Casper. Hey, if somebody tells me they're just happy for Maddie Keys, then I'm going to take them at face value that they're happy for Maddie Keys. Deuce. So Collins has saved 3 match points. Nice one, Danielle. Big serve from Casper Ruud. 40-love. First the Monopoly one from Sean. Now the friendly ghost. Love it. He's getting really frustrated with himself when he's missing some easy shots, Casper. It's happening less in this second set than it was in the first, but he is getting frustrated with himself in a way that he doesn't often when he's missing easy balls. Lovely smash, middle of the court, 40-15. Not that bruv. Oh dear. On my screen, it looks like another match point for Maddie Keys. Yep, Ghosty confirming that. Also, as to your earlier comment, Ghost, that I missed a few minutes ago, in terms of coaching kids tennis, I honestly have never considered it because I don't play tennis, so I feel like I would be I would be pretty bad at that. Unfortunately. I'm sure I'd enjoy it though. Just watching this game point for Casper, but I believe... Oh dear, that was terrible backhand from Casper Ruud to make it deuce. But Maddie Keys has managed it. She's taken the Strasbourg title, 6-1, 6-2. Incredible scoreline against Danielle Collins. And as we said earlier, a really deserved title, I think. I'm sure it'll mean a lot to her. Yeah, I was checking that earlier, and I think she will be 12 on Monday. That's what I worked out as well, looking at the rankings. But I'm not positive. Another game point for Casper to make this 3-love. Good serve. Goes for the drop shot, which doesn't feel like the right choice because Machac is clearly going to get there. And he does. Slices it past Casper. Back to deuce. I certainly don't think Casper's going to have this all his own way just because he's broken early in the second set. That's a big inside-out forehand from Casper Ruud. Just paints the line. I wasn't sure whether that was going to be in. Oof. Some nice play from the net at the net from Machac to make it deuce again. Madness. Hello to VV on Twitch. Thanks for joining us. Totally agree, Julian. I'm a clay fiend for sure. Love the clay. Once again, gorgeous forehand from Casper Ruud. As you're saying, Ghosty, he's not... In the first set, those forehands were going wide or long or up in the air. But when he's getting the big forehands right, they're really nice to watch. Hi, all good, Vivi. Hope you are too. Danielle and Maddie are not still playing. Maddie has won that one, 6-1, 6-2, actually. She's, according to everyone who's watched it, they've been telling me that Madison Keys played really well, but Danielle not necessarily up to it on the serve. So after quite a long game there at 2-love, Casper Ruud eventually does manage to hold. And he's 3-love up. And yeah, I think Casper's really turned this around, but I'm still not confident that this is going to be, you know, all Casper's way at the moment. That's a very interesting way to like the clay season, Ghosty. The stage version of Kung Fu Panda. Are you all about the hard courts then, rather than clay? Or grass? I won't take grass out of it. I'm just guessing. It might be hard court, but I understand it. I think, you know, we all have our surface preferences for sure. And a lot of that can be based on different things, right? Because You might love clay because your favourite players are good on clay. You might hate clay because your favourite players aren't, or you might love the grass because you come from somewhere that has a lot of grass courts. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. Hardcore and grass, so just not the clay. Understood. I get it. I'd say it's probably only the last couple of years that I've really sort of fallen in love with the clay, but I'm pretty in love with all three. Machac here at 30 love. Oh, Ashley, your friend was at the final today. That's really cool. It's a shame it was, 6-1, 6-2, obviously incredible from Maddie Keys, but from a perhaps neutral perspective or somebody who's there, they might have liked a bit of a longer match, bit of an epic. As it goes 40-15 on the Machac serve. Also, just going to say this really quickly because I assume that person on Twitch is gone, but I don't think you guys who are watching on YouTube can see the Twitch comments, but occasionally we get people come in on Twitch who don't seem to realise that this is a tennis stream at all and just try and tell you to stop talking about tennis because nobody wants to hear about it, which it does make me chuckle, I must admit. So yeah, guys, if I stop talking about tennis suddenly, it's because that's what people, because nobody wants to hear about tennis, apparently. 40-30 here, what was looking like pretty straightforward for Machac. Casper Ruud with a bit of a chance once again. Hi, Miles. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining the stream today. That's a nice way to finish off that game from Machac with an ace, just when he was looking like he might struggle to hold. So his first hold of that second set stays within touching distance of Casper Ruud at 3-1. Yeah, exactly. I can understand that Clay's the most different, right, of the three, because I think anyway, because of the sort of variety perhaps in the loopers and the lobs and the drop shots, which is what I like, but I totally understand that for some people that's not their cup of tea. Totally get that. But glad to hear that you still love Rafa. Me too. Yeah, absolutely agree as well about the American women. I think there's some incredible American talent at the moment on the WTA. Very exciting time. And in my opinion, if you ask me, they're really outshining the men at the moment. Apart from maybe Tommy Paul. I'll give it to Tommy Paul, he's doing pretty well. Machac just not covering the net quite well enough there. Big fist pump from Ruud as he makes it 15-all. Oh, such a difficult question. Andy and Stanny. I'm really looking forward to it. I've always been a big Andy Murray fan. That's probably just from being quite young and watching him at Wimbledon. and in the Olympics and stuff like that. So my heart says Andy. But actually, as you've just said, Ashley, I would actually just love it to be a really good game. I think both players deserve for it to be a properly good match. So I really, really hope it is. Because I really like Stan too. Machac just having a little bit of a go on this Ruud service game at 30 all. He's been ahead twice in this service game, but Casper Ruud getting it back. I do really enjoy Tommy Paul. Yeah, I like Tommy Paul. I think in terms of the American male players, certainly enjoy Tommy's tennis the most, along with maybe TFO when he's, at his best. Machac maybe with a small complaint to the umpire there, but it's over pretty quickly. 40-30 here for Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud coming into the net, does cover it well. Machac unable to get it over the net, and Casper holds for 4-1. A lot of scoreboard pressure now for Machac in this final. Oh, is Mario a big Tommy Paul fan? I've only been on stream once with Mario, and we were swapping at the time, so I think we were only on stream for about 2 minutes, so I've not really properly met Mario. But nice to hear he's a Tommy Paul fan. That's probably a good idea, Ghosty. No worries. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it, Ashley? I think when I saw the Andy Murray Stan, I was watching the draw at the time, and when I saw the Andy Murray Stan Wawrinka draw, I think I shouted an expletive quite loud. I was so shocked because I hadn't realised, it was obviously quite towards the end, I hadn't realised that they hadn't come up. Anyway, I was quite shocked that they were against each other. Thanks very much for joining us, by the way, Ghosty. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat as well. But yeah, I'm so shocked that they're playing each other, Andy and Stan. And even more shocked by Rafa's draw. I thought it was hilarious, the gasp that went up in the room. And the people who were drawing the draw didn't know whether to stop or not. It was, made me laugh. But it sounds like Rafa isn't as bothered as we all seem to be anyway. Everyone else's reaction seems to be a lot more strong than his, which is probably a good thing. And I'm trying not to get too hopeful with all of this news of him winning all these practice sets, right? He's won a practice set against Medvedev, Holger Rune, somebody else that he played earlier in the week. Wawrinka, Stan, of course. So he's won those practice sets, and Medvedev's obviously been talking about how much better Rafa looks on court, but I'm trying not to get too hopeful. $15 here on the Machac serve. Nice forehand from Machac to make it 30-15. Casper Ruud with a big backhand though. 30 all. Machac is at the net, and Ruud's big backhand. Machac can get a racket on it, but not do anything with it. It feels like Machac has been at the net quite a lot this match, and it's sort of slowly becoming less and less useful. Yeah, I'm the same, Ashley. I don't know what's worse either. When he came up in the draw and it was 50-50 that it was either going to be Zverev or Alcaraz, I was thinking, I don't know which is worse. I didn't know what. They're both terrible options. Yeah, I don't know what I was hoping for. I even think, one of the lower seeds could have been quite a good start to the tournament for him, perhaps, especially if he's feeling a bit better. But that's not how the draw fell. Maybe it's happened for a reason. Who knows? Deuce here on the Machac serve, and if Casper Ruud could break here, you feel this match might be over. Machac with an overhead. Ruud does manage to get it back, but not enough on it, and Machac is able to put it away for advantage. Haven't checked the Lyon score in a while since Strasbourg's over. 5-all in the Lyon final between Etcheverry and Mpetshi Perikar. That's quite exciting in that third set, 5-all. Machac with the opportunity to go for a forehand down the line and hold there, but gets it all wrong, goes long, and we're back at deuce. Absolutely, Ashley. Whole crowd will be very excited about Rafa. And I'm not sure how well, I might be wrong here, but I'm not sure how well Zverev will take that. I think he has quite enjoyed the support that he's got in Rome, of which he had quite a lot. And, he was describing himself as, if Yannick's not here, I'm happy to, take on that expectation or whatever it is. I'm not sure how well he will enjoy that sort of atmosphere. I don't think that's, in the same way that Djokovic sometimes, even though he obviously likes a crowd to be behind him, he sometimes thrives on playing a bit of a villain, right? I'm not sure whether Zverev will. It's a big forehand from Casper Ruud that goes awry. And Machac does manage to hold to make this 4-2. Casper's still in control, but doesn't manage to get that double break. And just checking the service stats, sorry, for the 2 sets, because I'm intrigued. Casper Ruud, 53% first serves in set 1, and he's upped it to 75% in his second set, and it shows. Although he is love 15 here on this service game. Cam Williams doesn't ring a bell. I'm really sorry if it should, but I can't think who you might mean there. In terms of whether Zverev's going to win Roland Garros, I think, like we said, it's a really open draw. Anything can happen. I think we could say the same for a lot of the top players in that top 10, maybe even beyond, that they've got as good a chance as any, or as good a chance as they have probably ever had this year. What with Rafa perhaps not at peak Rafa, Djokovic not at peak Djokovic, etc. Yeah, I totally agree, Ashley. I know we sometimes see players like Djokovic perhaps, or Medvedev in the past sort of thrive under that and use it to fuel them. And I think perhaps on a certain day, you're in a certain mood, maybe it does help. But in terms of, in general, I agree. Can you really not find that exhausting? Especially when it gets to that point where they're cheering when you miss a first serve and things like that. Surely that can be nothing but annoying. I don't know. Nice backhand at the net there from Machac. He is still having some success at the net. Oh, thanks, Ivan. Tennis Talk. Yes, sorry. I do know Tennis Talk. If you'd have said Tennis Talk, that would ring a bell, but the name didn't. Sorry about that. I was thinking you were maybe telling me a player on the ATP Tour or on the Challenger Tour that I wasn't aware of or something, so I wasn't in the right ballpark. Oh yeah. The Parisian crowd, they will not hold back. I thought, for example, last year, the way that Taylor Fritz handled that, I was really impressed with. As Casper goes for the lob, I don't think he's got it. That looks long. Yeah, that's deuce. So a little bit of a worry here on Casper Ruud's serve. I did say I didn't think it would go all his way. Machac definitely going to put up a fight here. But yeah, Taylor Fritz earned a lot of respect in my book with how he dealt with a really hostile Parisian crowd last year. And the Parisian crowd also makes Gael Monfils matches even more must-watch for me than they are normally. I mean, I think Gael Monfils is a must-watch all the time, but in Paris, unmissable. So advantage Ruud. Yeah, to make it 5-2. And I I think the umpire's just coming down to check whether this Machac ball is out, and it is. So Ruud has managed to hold there, and he's 1 game away from taking his 3rd Geneva title, right? Not in a row. But I think he's got, this would be 3. Yes, it would. He won it in 22 and 21. And then I think Jarry last year. But this would be his 3rd. He's done really well to turn it around in that first set, and he's just sort of carried on from there. So Machac will be hoping to at least hold this service game and make Casper serve it out. Gosh, yeah, that match against Baez was just incredible entertainment. But you're right, I love Gael Monfils, but I felt so sorry for Sebastian Baez. I feel sorry for anyone who's got Gael Monfils in Paris. It just must be so tough. Although the first round, Gael Monfils against Thiago Seyboth Wild, I think they'll both have a bit of support, right? There'll be a decent sector of Brazilian support, I would have thought. There often is. Yeah, I saw that earlier, Julian, about Nadal saying it might not be his last Roland Garros. It might be, it might not be. I think it's quite funny how he keeps saying that every tournament. He thinks it might be his last, but he's not going to 100% close the door. And I feel like maybe people aren't listening to him properly on that, because I think we're all still talking as if he's on this farewell tour, that he's not necessarily said that it's definitely a farewell tour. But yeah, it'd be crazy if they do a huge ceremony for him in Paris and then he's back next year. Similarly to when the Australian Open did that big ceremony for Andy Murray and then he rocks up. I mean, it's great that Nadal's feeling better. I think I think it's going to be such a tough task, but if somehow he can manage to beat Zverev in that first round, despite the form that Zverev's in and all of Rafa's troubles, surely then everyone's going to start believing again, right? That's got to be enough to start believing in number 15. Machac 40 love here on his own service game, so is that in? No, that forehand's just wide. 40-15. Yeah, I think and hope that you're right, Julian, but that's another first round. Just on the topic of Alex de Minaur, that first round between him and Mickelson looks good to me. Casper Ruud managing to pull off the lob on the run there to make it 40-30. Once again, Machac a little bit in trouble on serve. Oh, and Casper gets a net cord on the return and it just throws Machac off and he puts his forehand in the net and we are at deuce. So a bit of a chance here for Casper to break for the title. First serve in the net for Machac. Oh, and Casper is looking up the sky, wondering how he could possibly have missed that one. The umpire's come down to check it, but he has missed it. It's a backhand slice that's so close to the line, but just out. Advantage Machac. And he has held. So, under a bit of pressure there. And I'm impressed with the way that Machac has held for 5-3. And Casper's going to have to serve this out if he wants another 250 title to his name. Casper, a lot more confidence in the forehand now. You can see it. He's running around to play them all the time. Goes to the net and he's less confident that goes in the net. Love 15. Machac, of course, it's easy to forget, at least for me, that this is his first tour level final. I feel like he's been doing so well this year. I've seen so much of him. He's obviously made a Masters quarter-final, now his first ATP level final. He'll be top 35 when the rankings come out on Monday. So regardless of outcome here, it's a good week and he can feel good going into Roland Garros. Even though I think his first round match against Borges is tough. Great serve from Casper Ruud to make it 30-15. Camstream building Lego last night because of the delayed Ruud. Oh, sick. Was it tennis-related Lego or just totally off-topic Lego? Which either is fair enough. That's cool. It was delayed for a long time before they decided it would be played this morning, wasn't it? So, 40-15 here. 2 championship points for, as Julian has said, the king of 250s, Casper Ruud. Goes for the smash. Machac gets it back, but the second smash is past him. And Ruud gets it done at the first time of asking. A nice moment between the two at the net. I'm sure Machac will be disappointed, especially he'll be thinking what could have been at 5-4 in that first set. He had a real chance there, but Casper Ruud has played 2 matches today. And I don't think that fatigue came into play at all. I think he was top of his game by the end of it. Hitting some great forehands. Still a few more unforced errors by my eye than he'd want going into Roland Garros, but I think he can take a lot of confidence into it. And it's a good win. And overall, a good match as well. An hour and 47 minutes for a 7-5, 6-3. It was close. Closer than perhaps 2 sets can look. And like I say, I think Tomas Machac should be really proud of the week of tennis he's played. And getting to his first final. I'm sure there are a lot more on the cards for him going forward. And if he has a decent enough next few weeks, he could be seeded for Wimbledon, right? if he's top 35 now. It was a Lego gift from somebody. Oh, that's nice. That's a really good idea to do when there's rain delays. Nicely done. And Ivan, I'm from the UK. And I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us today. Please do make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be great to get to that 8,305, because that's a much nicer round number. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to wrap up quite quickly because I know that Nick has just started WTA Weekly, and I'd love for as many of you as possible to zip over there and watch his stream, talking all about the WTA this week, talking about Strasbourg, Rabat, and looking ahead to the French Open. So please do hop on over to that WTA Weekly stream with Nick. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Ashley. Thanks, Julian. Really appreciate you sticking with me throughout this whole match today. And it's been a good one. And I've loved streaming a couple of the Geneva matches for you this week. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all, hopefully, during tomorrow's French Open stream, which will start as the matches start. And we'll be covering as many of them as we possibly can for you. And it will be exciting to see how those pan out. So I will see you very, very soon. Thanks again so much for joining me today. And in the meantime, please make sure you keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.